怒りを叫べ悲しみを叫べ魂を叫べ今ここで叫べ
What's up, everybody? Welcome once again to the Yokai Delinquents podcast. I am Sean, Bearded Cappolitin.
And I am Jerry Robo Tengu Smith. How's it going, Sean?
I'm tired as hell, but we're here to do a show.
All right. So we have decided that we're the Monster Hunter podcast. We will be exclusively doing Monster Hunter news and just different things on Monster Hunter. So
it's true.
Yeah,
so y'all might as well just buckle up, buttercups, because we're just going to be talking about Xenogers and Nargacuda shipping, and what our favorite Palicos are, and why Palamutes are a sellout, and we're not going to like them.
And why Brachydios is the best monster. I mean, it's obviously because it has a Pompadour.
A Pompadour,
and it's the most, it's the most delinquent-esque monster in the game. So.
He's not wrong, and I promise that is the last Monster Hunter thing we're going to talk about for this minute.
For this episode.
For maybe. This episode, and I can't even promise this episode. We'll see. Let's see if there's anything interesting going on in the world. And Jerry, what have you been doing? What's going on?
Oh man, so it's essentially the start of a little vacation for me. So just kind of doing some relaxing, some chilling. Still playing lots of games. I think I mentioned it last episode. I upgraded my graphics card.
Yeah,
on my computer. So I've been playing a little bit more games, like staying up way too late playing Red Dead Redemption, and I downloaded The Old Republic. Remember that game? Jesus, it
I remember,
has not aged super well.
I remember it, but the fact that I played it for the first time like 5 months ago.
Yeah.
I did not see it in its heyday, and I tried the free-to-play model, which, as you know, is super limited, but it gives you a taste of the game. And here's what I'll say about that. I love BioWare-style games. Mass Effect, the Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age, the underappreciated Jade Empire. And but I'm not so sure it works in an MMO.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of like how I sort of felt about it. And it's like, I think the last Star Wars MMO that they had before this was Galaxies, right? And you were basically, it was limitless in what you could do in that game. As long as you spent enough time on it. Yeah. But I kind of just picked it up just because, I hadn't played it since it came out, and I barely played it. So I figured I would just jump in a little free-to-play thing and just kind of play it for a little bit and just see how it is. But in regards to Star Wars and games, they actually just announced, I think this last week, that EA's exclusivity, well, I guess whenever we release the episode, it'll be the week before last, whatever. The understanding.
We're a little closer to time.
Yeah, true. But anyway, they don't have exclusivity rights on Star Wars games anymore.
Right.
Which is amazing because, one of EA's biggest things, and I'm not saying this is the reason why, the Old Republic isn't super great. I mean, the game came out almost 10 years ago or something at this point.
Yeah, it's been out, I think even, honestly, about 10, that's fair. Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah. But they have this really bad thing where they will nickel and dime you and have microtransactions out the roof, for a lot of their games. But it's also kind of one of those things that I want to see what another company is going to do with the rights to Star Wars.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we've had success with the recent one. Was it Fallen Empire?
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
Yeah.
There it is. Like
Yeah.
I heard very good things about that.
Man, I just picked. Well, I borrowed it from somebody last year and like just ran through it in like a week and a half, and it's like one of the times that I really wish we'd get more emphasis in. And it's the after Order 66 in the times between episode 3 and episode 4,
Right.
is where this game's taking place, and you're essentially playing a Padawan, who or he was a Padawan during Order 66 and was on a Republic ship, and his master was there, and of course we know what happened with Order 66. He was able to get away, and we basically pick up where he's in hiding on a junkyard, and his story sort of like goes from there, of him trying to uncover secrets and help fight against the Empire and stuff. And we get a lot of like stuff that's from like Rebels and stuff like that, like the Inquisitors and stuff, which is really cool. Yeah,
nice.
The story for it was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it, and they had actually announced that we're supposed to be getting that one of the first projects is, and I can't remember who's working on it. If they announced the studio, the next Star Wars game we're going to get is like going to be like an open world game.
Yeah, that's been getting a lot of positive. I don't remember, either if they mentioned a studio or not, but it's not EA, so everyone's got at least a little more hope, because EA, I believe, had very little to do with Fallen Order, other than like publishing, like basically like releasing it and collecting some monies.
And that's why that game didn't have any microtransactions.
Exactly. Now, open world games, it's kind of like you said, like you're playing Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto, which could feature some, but like I want to hope it's more like like the Spider-Man game or like the ones I just mentioned, where kind of just like it would be very cool to be able to choose like Jedi Force user or a bounty hunter, or a rebel soldier, and kind of have maybe different paths within the same game, but maybe a little different story elements from each point of view. The possibilities with an open world game is pretty endless.
Yeah, and I'm honestly really hoping for something that's sort of in the same realm as like The Witcher, or oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of that game right now. Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Something like that. And yeah, I just like the possibilities of what they can release now are pretty freaking endless, My biggest thing, and something that I've been wanting again for a long time, is which is kind of part of the reason why I jumped in the Old Republic. Not that it has this very strongly, but creating your own character.
Right.
I love to. It's one of my favorite things to do in any game that I play, is making my own character. And the more customization options and stuff like glamour things that they have, the better.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, which like the free version of the Old Republic really doesn't have that, and surprisingly, I figured at this point, with the game being out, they'd have more races to play as, but there really aren't a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of like even the different ones are kind of samey, which we know Star Wars has a huge a ton of choices like that for different alien races and looks and everything. And, again, we are talking about a game that's 10 years old. Like, I play Warcraft, which is much older.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm still, it's not much better in that, but they've added so many new races, like, you don't mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if some of them, like the Allied races, are a little samey, they have different looks and different designs and unique enough designs. It's not just a slightly different hair parted the other way, and it's actual full blown. Even if some of them are dumb, at least they give you a variety of options. And Old Republic didn't really have much of that, but I wanted to like it better than I did when I tried it out for a little while. Like the controls are okay, but like the story element, I don't know. Like when you play Mass Effect, or even comparing to the old Knights of the Old Republic games, which I'm still,
I know,
now that the exclusivity is gone, I'm hoping maybe that can mean some kind of HD re-release on any platform.
Oh, I know.
I would love it for the Switch
Yeah.
though. But that, when you go from, okay, you're making these choices, you're having these deep conversations, and then it
Mhm.
turns into go collect your 10 such and insert such and such MMO mission, as opposed to the
Yeah.
more story driven missions you would do in those single player games. I
Mhm.
just, yeah,
Mhm.
so I don't really think that the dialogue boxes, and it may get better further into the
Right.
game, but in the
Yeah.
opening, it was not really hooking me or working for me.
Yeah, and I honestly forgot before I played it because I've played through like the whole like opening of it so far, and I do love that they kept the aspect of being able to choose your dialogue options.
Right.
That and you don't start off. Well, I guess technically you start off as Jedi, but that's where you get your option through this. You don't pick it at the beginning if you want to be
Right.
Jedi or Sith. You start off as a Jedi, and then like as you're going through the story, you can basically get corrupted and join the dark side and everything through the
Oh,
story. I
okay.
haven't tried that yet, but I honestly want to like just make a new character and sort of go down that path instead, because they still have like you have little NPC companions,
Mhm.
like the first one you get to droid,
Right.
and whenever you make a choice, it'll literally say like this character liked that or didn't like that or whatever. So
Right.
I like that they still have that, but yeah, I kind of want like an updated MMO for Star Wars, or like a new Jedi Outcast game. Like those were phenomenal.
Oh, for sure.
Um, the
Oh,
I think that last one they did was the Apprentice, right? If
I
I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah, like you start off and you're going to wherever Luke ended up after the sixth movie, where he was training new Jedi, and they had Kyle
Oh,
Katarn, and
okay.
he was like a master, and you
Right, right.
basically were one of the two Padawans under Kyle Katarn, and it was pretty cool. Like
Huh,
it was a
okay.
fun game, good
Uh,
character customization and stuff for that
yeah,
for its time.
outside of the Knights of the Old Republic, I think that's the last real Star Wars game that I really got deep into.
Yeah.
So sadly, much as I do love some Star Wars, and
Mm-hmm.
especially with all that's going on here lately with it, who's not to love it? But I think that was a decent enough segue.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the Mandalorian
Oh
a little
yes,
bit
yeah. We
here.
I guess we haven't talked about it since the season ended.
Now we did that episode we recorded so long ago about the
Hmm.
with the Ahsoka episode, but we have not because even though we recorded in advance, it was new at the time, and we were like, we got to let everything
Hmm.
kind of go. If you haven't watched it yet, you don't deserve the spoiler warning, but I'm still going to give you a spoiler warning anyway because you should love
Right.
yourself and have already watched The Mandalorian season 2 probably twice by now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was a fantastic season, but I would argue, like I said, the Ahsoka episode, like the last few were all good, but that finale,
Oh my
oh, that
gosh.
finale
Yeah.
was so good. So,
Oh
so like
yeah. Just
a brief recap on it, at
mhm,
least a
mhm.
setup for the last episode,
Yeah.
because Bando Din is a terrible father. Grogu is captured by Darth Gus and his fried chicken empire. But yeah, Grogu, Baby Yoda, for those who are still calling him that, okay? They gave him a fucking name. Accept it. And he's on a rescue squad, and they got everybody. He brought in everybody to help him get Grogu back because that's his boy. He's going to get him.
Mhm,
And, like, not only do we have a great just breaking in to the ship,
mhm.
sequence, but like, and we got Grogu in Baby Yoda sized handcuffs,
Oh
which
my god, that
means
was
they,
too
they
adorable.
they already had those ready. Which means, I mean, you can't deny them being bad guys
Yeah.
at this point. There
Right.
was even a
Right.
meme of like a stormtrooper looking at him going, "Are those baby size handcuffs? We have those. Are we the bad guys?" like at that point. And I mean, Moff Gideon. Moff
Yeah.
Gideon, like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's threatening Grogu with the dark saber. He's talking shit to a child, and we got
Mhm.
to see Grogu slamming around stormtroopers too with the Force.
Well, to be fair, he's like a 50-year-old child.
He's 50, but you can't look at it in humans. I've had this conversation, sorry. So you can't look at a 50-year-old alien age as the same as a human. Sorry, as y'all are learning, we have technical difficulties here. I dropped out again. Thank you, Discord, for being a piece of garbage. Are you there, Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't remember where we cut off. I'm going to go back to you can't treat 50-year-old in human years as an alien. When you live for 400 or 500 years, 50 ain't shit. So he's still a baby. He's just an angry baby where he doesn't have his steel ball baba. And he will slam a motherfucker with the force, but then he gets very tired and needs his nappy nap.
Need his nappies.
But they raise hell, they break in, they deal with some Death Trooper droids, that are fucking horrendous at opening doors. They'll just punch through. We see,
man. Speaking of their like intro, that Bo-Katan, Finnick, and Cara Dune. Again, them just all taking people out.
An awesome showcase of some badass women's just wrecking shop, whooping ass, and great banter and just well choreographed again of just showing them handling it while Din is trying his best to find the child. Bo-Katan obviously is trying to find Moff Gideon to get that dark saber back, and we get a great spear battle. He brought the Beskar steel spear, so we got I'm trying to think of the actor's name now. I can't remember his name. But, a throwback to Game of Thrones where his main weapon was the spear when he fought the mountain.
Oh.
I like that little bit, unintentional or not. It was just a nice little throwback to Pedro Pascal. Rocking the spear again. Effectively taking out one of the Death Trooper droids, which is, pretty damn impressive. These things are fucking monsters. Unfortunately, there's about 30 more waiting for him.
Yep.
Which he luckily, kind of like he gets to Gideon, who surprisingly puts up very little fight, but he kind of knows what he's doing. But we're just gonna get right into like the meat and potatoes of this, of why we want to talk about this. So they got Gideon. He's surrendered Bo-Katan. He surrendered the Darksaber to Mando, who tries to give it Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan tells him, "You know what? We got rules, man."
Yeah.
Like even though I yelled,
it can only be one from someone.
Even though I'm Bo-Katan, I yelled at you about not following the old ways of taking your helmet off and shit. But here's my old ways.
We can't be choosy with our old ways.
Yeah, that's gonna be real interesting because that doesn't get settled. That's gonna be something definitely for season 3. But what we do have, though, is them trapped in the thing. The Death Troopers are on their way, and they're just as badass as they are. Like I said, Mando only luckily got through one, and he got his ass whooped.
Yeah, well, and he fucking opened the airlock, and they all went flying out of there. And, immediately I was like, oh, they're going to be back.
They're coming back. They're not going to suffocate. They're droids. Which, granted, at this point, droids weren't used in combat as much in the Star Wars universe. It's like the Clone Wars. So maybe he wasn't really thinking, hey, he got rid of them at least for a little while. So you have that tense, that good old, like you hear them bashing the door down and it's just tense and they're just readying for that last standoff. You got Moff Gideon ready with a gun he found on the ground. He's hiding it, so he's going to do some treachery. And then you see Grogu just look up like, y'all feel that? And you see out the window a single X-Wing fighter. And you know what you all assume, but there was something in my head. I don't know about you, but I was like, nah, that's a red herring. They're fucking
Wedge Antilles, right?
Right. Or the Korean dude from Kim's show, one of the two X-Wing pilots we've seen a couple times throughout this season. He's just going to show up investigating things or something, right? Like, nah, can't be. But even Cara Dune's like, oh, one X-Wing, we're saved, great. Lands. And I'm still in denial here. You see a black
Oh yeah.
robed figure. I'm like, nah, they're faking. They're fucking with us. It's no way
Yeah.
they're going this way. Green lightsaber, one black gloved hand. I was like, no.
Yep.
And what we get is prime after Jedi Luke Skywalker at the prime of his Force abilities and training, just being the legend that he fucking is, and he is just wrecking these droids, super fucking casual, and like it's super well done. Keeps the hood on the entire time because we know Mark Hamill ain't getting down like this right now at his age. But and of course, again though, this is pre-sequel, so this is Return of the Jedi era, about 5 years after. So, like, what we do get after an amazing, like, people have like, I've seen a music video of this entire sequence done to the song "We Need a Hero." I've seen a side by side of the final hallway scene where he's just ripping through the last of them, compared to the hallway scene from Rogue Squadron of Vader, and they're very similarly shot.
Ooh, interesting.
So like a nice little, hey, like father, like son kind of thing. Spoilers if you didn't know that shit from 1985. And what I loved, like, I mean, he's just so fluid, so casually just ripping through these droids because it's a lightsaber. It cuts through anything except Beskar. And, but I like that the last one, after he just had it completely done, he didn't just cut it and be done. He just force crushed it like a fucking soda can. Showing a little bit of that dark side edge that we know Luke had gotten from Yoda. And then, they get to the door and Grogu's just like, holy shit, y'all see that? I'm going to learn from this one. And open the door and we get definitely better than Rogue One CG young Mark Hamill, similar to what they did for Grand Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia, but again, also on a smaller screen. I think it also helps makes it look a little better. But just a very well done, looks right out of Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, and he answered the call.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of my things, because one of the things that they did early on in the season. Well, I guess it wasn't too early on. It was a couple of episodes before this. But they get to this beacon, and Grogu reaches out through the Force to find someone who could like teach him the way. So like this whole time I'm like, man, that's out there. Like this is gonna come back later. They didn't do that for no reason.
Yeah, it was like 3 episodes before. It was 2 episodes before this one. So for like 2 episodes, we didn't know who answered the call. If they're in my mind, because I was happy to see Luke. Don't get it wrong, but like in my mind, I'm like, Filoni and them are just so good about pulling from deep lore, from everything. I'm like, it could have been anybody. It could have been a return of Ahsoka, maybe with Sabine or something with her. It could have been, just a Jedi like we had. Like in my mind, I had my fan theory of like, okay, what's the wildest person that could answer the call? Because in the first episode, they did the Tusken Raiders thing.
Yeah.
In the expanded universe, there was a Tusken Raider Jedi. And don't ask me his name, but it's true. and he was only in like the comics. I don't know about even novels or anything. He was definitely in the comics. That's how I found out about him. I had an art book full of Dark Horse Star Wars comic book art. And I saw that. That just blew my mind. I never even thought about that race as being a Jedi. I'm like, well, what if they tied it all together? Because we know they had the pearl and the kyber crystals were from that worm. So like, oh, what's this a big tie-in? It wasn't. We got Luke, but they could have. There was a few surviving Jedi around this time period they could have pulled from. So, but like, yeah, I mean, of course, the other big one was Yaddle, the other of Yoda's race from Episode 1, and never anything else again. But that was also like, dude, what if he pulls that? But but he drew the lucky lotto for sure. Who answered that call?
Yeah, seriously. And I mean, it was just like, so, CG aside, because like that stuff ages, and like I thought it was good. It's just like, am I gonna think it's good, so many years from now whenever I go back and rewatch it? But it is kind of funny that someone did point out, they did a side by side, and they were like, why does Luke look more like Luke in this than he did in the Star Wars Holiday Special? Uh, yeah,
The
it was just
answer is
funny.
not that nice. If you want to actually know, do you know why he didn't look like he did in the Star Wars special?
Why is that?
He actually had facial reconstruction surgery in between that time in a horrible car
Oh yeah,
crash between A New
yeah,
Hope and Empire.
yeah,
So
and
you know what?
that's why.
He's doing the best
Well,
he can.
and yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like, because they did the CG Luke,
Yeah,
which was
yeah,
really interesting. But I mean, that's also why they kind of like started off. Was it Empire Strikes Back with him getting attacked and everything like that
right.
to give reason why he was a little scarred up in the
Yeah.
face and everything.
Plus, of course, like I said, when you do CG, there's no blemishes, there's no pop marks from a
Hmm.
shaving accident. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's the perfect image of Luke,
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but he came to call, and yeah, he's there to take Grogu and train him in the ways, and we got just wrenching at the feels here of Din letting Grogu go, took off his helmet, and just like the only thing was missing, like I wish he would have given him the steel ball that he put in his belt
Oh yeah.
from
Yeah.
when his ship got destroyed. He found that, so I was like, oh, that's kind of a missed opportunity to be like, here, he likes to practice with this.
Hmm. Yeah, something to that extent, which kind of begs the question. Like, we know because of the new trilogy, like
Yeah,
how the whole Jedi Temple and apprentices and stuff like that ended
right.
with Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren and everything.
Yeah, and
Um,
yeah,
so yeah,
that's been a big thing with that too. Like, oh my God, did you just sign off Grogu's death? And there's at least close to 15 years, 12 years between this and the stuff that happened around episode 7.
hmm
So, like, we want to believe, like, by that point, Grogu had gotten maybe out of there. But, yeah, it's like, for what we know right now, we have to kind of assume that he didn't make it, or he was sitting as the top part of another shorter alien race as one of the Knights of Ren in
hmm
one armor, which
Oh
still means he
Jesus.
got at the end.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I don't I think there's definitely gonna be more, they love to expand on all that stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're definitely gonna get something, and I would not be surprised if he got, was away or got spirited away or something like that. Just
right.
because I mean, yeah, I forgot how far this takes place, like from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, because at this point, I think because they said 5 years after Jedi, so like I'm talking
Hmm.
like Ben Solo is like just now being born, or at least
Hmm.
he's an infant still. So he has
Yeah.
to have all that time to grow up and go there and fuck everything up. But it was regardless. Like I mean, we have the sadness of Grogu and Din being separated. We have the like, what's gonna happen with Bo-Katan and her damn rule with the dark saber. Moff Gideon's still alive, even though he tried to off himself. They stopped that. They stopped that shit. But then,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. You're good.
Oh,
You're
I
good.
was just gonna say, but then we had the after credit scene
Yes.
where
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
which is going to lead us into a new series altogether, right?
Yeah, it was basically we were back on Tatooine in Jabba's palace, and you see his assistant, his a Twi'lek assistant named Bibs Fortuna. I can't believe I
Hmm.
remember that here on the fly. I can't remember real people's names, but Bibs Fortuna had survived the yacht, which some people complained about. They said, "Hey, he was clearly there when he got blown up." Like, no, no. If you go back and look, he wasn't in any of the last shots. And there was even an old. I'm sure it's no longer canon because they wiped all the old canon. There was a comic or a novel that showed that he saw shit going south and dipped quick. He
Yeah.
got off that thing. So he's there. He's living the Jabba lifestyle. He put on a hell of a lot of weight. And we get one of his guards getting like killed in a stairway, which is very similar to like how when Luke came busting in, you first saw someone falling down the stairs. And
Hmm.
but what we have instead is Fennec and Boba,
Oh, yes.
and then Boba just quickly takes him out, takes his place on the throne with Fennec by his side, and it says coming in 2021, the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Which at the time, go ahead.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
No, it's just it's kind of funny because for the longest time, like I don't think it was necessarily not warranted being because I love Zuckuss and Forlom, but like Boba Fett was hardly in the series and he had this humongous fan base,
right?
And it was like a little unwarranted,
Well,
they're like barely in it, but it's kind of nice to finally have them justified,
Oh no, for sure. I mean, I remember as a kid, because I was a young kid watching these stuff, and like, we knew nothing about Boba Fett. He was the only bounty hunter that did anything, so he had that little bit of edge. But he looked so damn cool, and that's literally where the fan base started from. At least, in my circle, everyone thought he was the absolute coolest because he had a missile. He had a gun. He had a weird ship that fit in with garbage, and he got Han Solo for Vader, and like it spawned from that. Then of course, people made comics, made novels explaining how he got out of the Sarlacc pit. But now we have the series kind of gave him his own, he got some personality because bringing in the actor who had played Jango and the model for all the clones, which I didn't know until recently. That I was going to say he played the clones, but he didn't because every single clone trooper in the prequel trilogies was completely CG. None of them were ever real. I never just put him in the suit. Just only had him for Jango.
Yeah.
And but bring him back for Boba. You see the scars. Put on some weight. Fuck you fans. They'll be calling him fucking Boba Fett. You piece of shit.
Right.
The man can age. He can live his life. And what I really loved is he's from New Zealand, the actor, and he's Maori. And they let him incorporate some of the Maori fighting techniques in that amazing sequence while Grogu's making a phone call across the galaxy when destroying those stormtroopers with the Tusken Raider gaffy stick. And it was just an amazing sequence of another great episode. I believe that was another no, it wasn't a Filoni episode, but still that was a great one. And,
it was a Robert Rodriguez, Jon Favreau episode.
That's what it was. They brought in my boy Robert Rodriguez. Yes. And so yeah, they expanded on him a lot. You got a lot of his personality, him just talking, even like showing his wit. I fucking loved the line of when they were trying to sneak in to the Empire facility, and they looked at Boba. He's like, "I'm pretty sure they'll know my face." So that clone humor, that's fucking great. But an amazing season, a great finale, and there's so many good moments. I mean, from Ahsoka to Luke. And Ahsoka, we've already ranted about that, and I love that episode so damn much. And now, from reports are going that we might not get Mando this year. We're going to get the Book of Boba Fett will be its own thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a little break from Mando, which as long as they keep it the quality, I'm cool with these spin-offs. We kind of have been hearing rumors about spin-offs, and this is the first official confirmed one that we're going to be getting. Which is apparently also something that Lucasfilm had been wanting to do for a while. They've been talking about doing a Jabba film because they really wanted to show the underworld, the mafia of Star Wars. So I think this is kind of their way of getting back to that now with someone who's a little more English speaking than a giant slug man who likes his frogs. Much as we love hearing some good old Jabba talk, me someone no Chewbacca. Oh. Love it.
Why do you do that so well?
I'm sorry. Live that Jabba life. Live that Jabba lifestyle, son.
That was amazing. One of my little notes on the Mandalorian and the ending of it and everything. Which was kind of interesting, right? Because generally speaking, whenever you have a character that's as iconic as Grogu is, from the entire series, that's like your cash cow or whatever. So, pretty much anything that wants to be long going would have something like that so they can market it, market the shit out of it. And I kind of got to applaud him for sort of taking him out of this story, because it was like a sort of a big dynamic there for the entirety of the series is Mando's main thing is like how he's like, you know, in the old way, and he's like very serious and stern and everything. And then you had this like child that he had to look after that's always like getting into mischief and stuff like that, that he's trying to take care of. So I'm really interested to see where they're going to pick up from here. Like, you know, especially with knowing that Boba Fett like went his separate way and stuff. Like, what's going on with Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorians from that. You know, he's kind of like at a loss here, especially since he doesn't have a ship,
Right.
as well. So he's sort of like almost lost on a bunch of fronts, like at the end of that season. And I'm really kind of interested to see where he's going to pick up for another season. It's a shame that we have to wait so long, but I think the wait is going to make like what they come up with even more better.
Oh no, I absolutely agree. And my thoughts on this is going to be, and I don't want to sound any kind of gatekeepy, but I don't really know any other way to say it.
Sean.
Without Grogu, we're gonna see if the viewers drop because they're just there for the cuteness and not the Star Wars. So, I'm not gonna use the term real fans because fuck that shit.
Yeah,
But you know what I mean. But I think we like
yeah,
even my wife. She's like, I don't believe her. I think she's still gonna watch because she's invested in all the characters.
yeah.
But like she's like, if Grogu's not in it, I don't care. I'm like, you say that. But you know, we all want. But here's what I think could possibly happen, which might also address what we talked about with the future of the Jedi Temple. If we take a year off and just do the Book of Boba Fett, and come back next year, the end of next year, for the next season of Mandalorian. Well, not only do we have a time stop there, but what if we actually do a time jump in season 3?
That's kind of what I was thinking, sort of.
Like the preparation to take back Mandalore is not going to be like, well, let's figure out the sword thing and go back. It's going to be a war into itself.
Right.
And it could be some time prep, and maybe we get the return of Grogu within a time jump, a force wielding, maybe even talking. I don't know. That's just kind of the out there speculation of like, if they're taking a break for a reason, you know what I mean? Instead of like maybe dropping the Book of Boba Fett on its own release time, not because it is taking the place of roughly around when Mandalorian usually starts, I believe.
Yeah, and we're also going to be getting the Ahsoka series too, right?
Yeah, we're getting the Ahsoka series, which is happening in this time frame. I believe it's going to be this year. I could be wrong. I don't think. Actually, I'm not sure if they gave a date for that because we got 2 spinoffs so far coming from this. It's Ahsoka and Rangers, Star Wars Rangers, which a lot of speculation is possibly a Cara Dune maybe led one, with her being the new what's the word, constable or whatever, like, you know, having maybe some of her own troops she sends out to kind of do their own policing. That's all pure speculation. That they've given us nothing but titles, you know, which we discussed when we did all like the big Disney Plus releases. And Ahsoka is clearly going to be her searching for Ezra. And recently, though, someone had tweeted at Rosario Dawson asking about, you know, hey, are we going to see Sabine in your series? You know, Sabine Wren, you know, from Rebels, the Mandalorian girl that was traveling with her to help find Ezra. And of course, you know, there's no way she could be like yes or no.
Right.
She just typed like girl, like kind of giving a little like yeah, maybe we'll see some Sabine. Hell yeah, I'll be down for that. I would love to see Sabine because, like, you know, just the dynamic. I see a lot of good potential dynamic between her and Ahsoka, the more serious Ahsoka, to the Sabine who's a little more of a hothead. I think that could be with the right casting, which again, Filoni and Favreau are going to make amazing casting choices, like they did with Rosario Dawson, like they did with everybody in this franchise. Like, so, super looking forward to that. Really, really hoping we'll get some details soon, so I'll know if because I speculate away and I'm rarely right, but I'm never upset about, like, you know, never have the whole, oh, my idea was better, because fuck you if you think that way.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, that was an amazing finale. It will. It is a shame we're gonna miss a year before we get back to more Mando, but there's so much goodness coming. You know, like I mean, even not even in Star Wars. Just I mean, Disney Plus alone is fucking just for everyone who said I only watch it for Mandalorian. Hey, you're dumb.
I was Yeah, I was actually gonna mention, like, aside from other news that we will probably get to here in a second,
Right.
and other release things, but something that I had picked up and I am fucking loving so far, is they started their High Republic Star Wars High Republic release date.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all taking place, like in the pinnacle of the Jedi era and everything. So right now, I'm only reading Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, which is like the big novel that they came out with. I haven't picked up the comic book yet, but Craig was telling me a little bit about it.
I got the book as well, the comic book. I picked that up. I don't have the novel. The comic is very good.
Yeah,
It throws you right in with a new Padawan and she has, and her master, and you're kind of you get a good look at the Jedi Council, the Jedi Order at its peak. You see the size of it. We get Yoda appearance,
that's
and
awesome.
we got. I'm going blank. I could dig out the book if I real quick. I got it right here. But yeah, it's a damn good first issue. I love that they have again showing the variety in Jedi. The lead, whose name I'll get here in 1 second, is a human, but I love that her master is the same race as Bosk.
Oh, the Trandoshan, yeah.
Trandoshan, thank you.
hmm
I'm trying to find her name, but anyway, but she's a human. She's learning, and like she has a double green saber. It's just like it's she's a smart ass, but she's also knows her shit. You know what I mean? She's, it's a good dynamic. Plus, we get a few other characters that are in the council, and it's a solid start already. And her name is Keeve Trennis,
Oh, okay.
and
Oh, yeah, I see that.
and I do. Oh, really cool thing too is it's a much more simplified, of course, because you realize how much they've cut out from the expanded universe canon. But they do
hmm
actually have a Star Wars timeline on the first page of the comic,
Yeah.
and it shows like where the movies, the TV series, where they all fall into in each the ages or timeline, what they call them: the High Republic, Fall of the Jedi, Reign of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, the New Republic, Rise of the First Order, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a damn good book. Art is really damn good. The writing is great. Yeah, I would definitely tell you to pick it up for sure.
Yeah, and talking to Craig about it, I kind of like that all of these are being centered around like the same time frame for all the High Republic stuff.
Right.
He said that they had just opened up a new space station in that one in the outer reaches, which is kind of cool because that's like their whole thing is like they're like, oh, there's not a big Republic presence out here, so we're going to put this beacon of hope, and it's essentially what starts off the Light of the Jedi is they're all coming back from like the ceremony of opening that base up,
Right.
and they get a huge distress, like a system-wide distress call with when the book opens up, and like I love like all the characters that they've introduced, but like I have to say, one of the ones that they haven't got into yet, but I'm really interested in, is they actually introduced a Wookiee Jedi or a Wookiee Padawan, and his name is
Oh,
Buryaga.
nice.
And it's pretty cool because they have concept art for all these characters, right? I'm on their
Oh,
little
okay.
website right now, and his lightsaber has a cross guard for it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, and it's not like like the cross guard like Kylo Ren has. It's just kind of like a part of the hilt cross guard. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just love them blending like old concepts and new concepts and everything.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was just gonna mention was in the comic book as well. You see a lot of different styles, and apparently in Star Wars lore, a lot of the in the High Republic, a lot of their
hmm
saber hilts were very much more sword like with cross guards and a little more variety than we got when I guess they kind of had to be in hiding, so they really kind of made their sabers a bit simpler. A lot more
Hmm.
like ornate designs and Excalibur looking almost sort of just with a laser sword instead. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's very cool.
Yeah, and like another thing that I really like about this whole release of them doing this is they actually have released for like you know different types of media and like different age groups and stuff like that. Because they've released the comic book, they've released the novel that's more centered towards like a an older audience and everything. But then
Right.
they also have two books that came out for around like younger kids age and then like kind of that middle ground. There's
Right.
a young adult novel coming out at the beginning of next month, and then they actually just announced that there's also a manga that's getting ready, that's scheduled for this year as well,
Oh
which
yeah, they did announce. I forgot all
yeah,
about that manga. I'm
yeah,
definitely picking that up.
the Edge of Balance, yeah, which man, I think they maybe did something Star Wars manga related at some point, maybe. I
There
can't really remember.
there has been some in Japan. I don't
Yeah.
remember for sure if they ever got translated over here. But
Mhm.
yeah, they've had some adaptations over there in Japan for sure. It's equally as popular, as it
Mhm.
is here. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think we ever got a. Well, we might have. Dark Horse had a lot. When Dark Horse had the Star Wars rights, like
Mhm.
there was so many books. Which again, kind of sad that it's not canon, but they are slowly bringing them in. And I think
Yeah.
like me and Craig had maybe mentioned it, not on our show or anything, but just the biggest shame about that is, which is cool to bring them back in the extended canon at their own choosing. But
Mhm.
you have a lot of writers and artists who originally made that now who aren't really kind of getting that credit,
Mhm.
which it does kind of suck. But again, unfortunately at the same time when you're working with an IP that's not your own, it's kind of how it goes. But I would
Right.
still tell people like if you want to see the expanded Star Wars, even if it no longer technically doesn't count, it's still out there. And if you can find like any of the trade collections of some of the old Dark Horse comics, some of them like the few I've read, but just the ones I kind of know about, are just it's really some phenomenal Star Wars stories out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. Like, I mean, and I think they've reprinted a lot of the novels and everything, and not to mention the newer novels that have been coming out.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
and here's a thing too. I don't I'm it's weird. I love to read, and I
mhm.
do love novels. I'm still trying to work through the ones I have, but I
Yeah.
know I have a flea market right down the road from me, and
Hmm.
one booth has a shit ton of them. And if I just really want to get into a Star Wars kick, I just need to probably scoop them all up. 'Cause I think they're like $2 or $3 a piece. And it's not just like the movie adaptation ones. It's the old school like
Oh yeah.
expanded universe stuff. I probably
Yeah.
just need to
Get
grab them just for the hell of it, if nothing else.
get into that EU stuff.
Yeah, like, but it's no longer canon. So what? It's a good fucking story. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah. Somebody actually pointed out this great passage from the book that I really liked, and they kind of like Charles Soule goes into a little bit of explanation of like what the characters look like, and occasionally what their lightsabers look like, and one of them, it's kind of cool. They go into you know how much of a hunk of junk this person's lightsaber looks like, and like it looks like it's broken several times and she's repaired it and it's not pretty,
Right.
and it's like a good representation of like a person, because like they don't have to look good on the outside, but it like basically sings whenever it's turned on.
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah.
yeah,
No, very
just
cool, very cool.
yeah, just the cool little stuff that they've done. They've done some pretty interesting stuff that I'd never considered, as far as like using their lightsabers with, because they have like special ships that they control with the Force too,
Oh
um,
okay.
and, and then there's like different types of ways for them to use their lightsaber to reach out through the Force as well,
Huh.
which I won't spoil because it's a really cool moment. But yeah, it's like I'm really loving where they're going with all this High Republic stuff, and I love that a lot of it's just novels and comics and stuff like that, and picture books and everything. I like that they're expanding it on that basis, and I'm honestly down to pick the majority of it up.
Oh yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
looking forward to it all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not only is it just that Star Wars is now getting these extra things that are coming out that's pulling me in because but also like yeah, you and me have both been friends with Craig about the same amount of time, and you talk with Craig about Star Wars, he's just gonna make you love it even more. But and I also got my buddy Jesse. He's big into Star Wars, so just talking with them, combined with Mandalorian, combined with like finally sitting down and watching all of Rebels and all of Clone Wars, and now like these books is like Star Wars has been in my life since I was a kid. But it's always kind of like one of those things where I was like, didn't really necessarily think about it until the movies were coming out, or like would see it on TV or whatnot. But man, it's here as of late. I've just fallen head over heels for Star Wars all over again. I feel like a kid again. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't get the new novel, but like I said, getting the new comic, watching it, I even casually, when I should be watching new things, I've actually started watching through the Star Wars saga again, and including all the Clone Wars, just with in the background kind of stuff, just because I love it. I'm making my own OC original character Star Wars cosplay as we speak.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like,
yeah, tell us about that.
oh, well, it's always funny, like, because I talk with Craig about it, because I like bouncing ideas off other Star Wars fans, because I'm making my own original character. It's purely cosplay. It's not like I'm going to make a movie with him or anything, unless you viewers out there want to see it on Beer the Captain Productions YouTube channel. But I'm also just kind of loving exploring an origin for him for nobody but myself. You know what I mean? Like, what I have is he's human, but he was raised or lived, not raised necessarily, he lived with the Tusken Raiders. And yes, I'm gonna pull my I did it before it was cool card, because I know like the Mandalorian season 2 really brought that out with the Tusken Raiders, which I love that they did it, because this character came about around when Attack of the Clones episode 2 came out. Going back to that art book I mentioned earlier when I first saw the Tusken Raider Jedi, because my buddy, I was broke. I don't think I was employed at the time, but I was hanging out with a friend, and we were at Hastings, and I saw that book, and I'm flipping through it, and it was all the Dark Horse Comics art. And I was like, I love this book. This is amazing. Like, I'm just like, of course, the prequels, even though we all shit on them, there's still some good in there. And it got me back into thinking about Star Wars. And he said he'd buy me the book if I drew all of the current, like, our friends circle at the time as Star Wars characters. So I went through and got everyone, like, would you be a bounty hunter? Would you be a Jedi, a Sith? Got all their little details. And I made one for me. And I, like, in my head, since it was me, I'm like, well, I wear glasses. I need some kind of mask. And never thinking about cosplay, because I never, as you know, this is long before I ever met you. And I never even thought about cosplay until we started being friends. But I was like, okay. And I saw that Tusken Raider Jedi. So I put the front part of the mask over him, kind of like a pre-Star-Lord kind of look, with the hair out and everything. And he had a dual-wielding sabers, underhand style. I never even watched any of the Clone Wars, so I didn't know about Ahsoka rocking that. So before I'm accused of being a ripoff artist, I want it on the record that I predated all this shit with my old-ass self. Now, fast forward to now, he looks completely different. I wish I had the original drawing. I don't know what happened to it, unfortunately. But it is still a human that lived with Tusken Raiders. So I'm kind of getting a desert feel. I've recreated as best I can with my limited cosplay skills. I got the front half of the mask with some straps, so he does wear the front of Tusken Raider mask. And he's a Force user. I'm still kind of dancing around the idea of being a ex-Jedi, or just like a former Jedi who went to live with them or left the temple, or maybe just a Force user who found a lightsaber.
Or was it a Padawan who was on Tatooine during Order 66 and the Tusken Raiders saved them and basically raised them and protected them?
Could be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. And maybe he had... Well, see, here's the thing. Taking the old lore that's no longer canon, the lightsaber colors used to mean your station in the Jedi Order.
Right.
And of course, my first instinct is to go green because that's my favorite color. But I started thinking about the character. And in the old order, yellow is a guardian. Now, traditionally, they had the double sabers. but they were the guardians of the Jedi Temple. They were the guards, basically. Which,
Mhm.
even though that's no longer canon, that's why Rey had a yellow lightsaber at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, because she's the last guardian of the Jedi ways.
Oh,
Little
interesting.
subtlety
I
there.
never thought about that.
So I kind of like the idea of maybe like his master. Now I'm liking the Padawan idea. Actually, I'm taking your idea
Yeah.
and making it mine. You made this. I made this. I'm digging that. No, that's a great idea, Jerry. I dig it. And
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
old school. It's half of his. He put it together, pieced it back together. It made a single saber, but it's yellow. Because I always like the Guardian idea, plus the yellow aesthetically with the kind of the desert theme I'm making for him, being that he lived with Tusken Raiders.
Hmm.
Aesthetically, that kind of fits for me. And
Hmm.
also, it's the color Ray saber, and all you fucking haters out there who call her Mary Sue, fuck you, I'm rocking that yellow saber for Ray. Especially
So
because
great.
I hate to be negative. We try not to be super negative, but I know what I'm getting
Yeah.
into doing a Star Wars cosplay.
Oh yeah.
And I'm more because I've had issues with the 501st at a cons just selling my shit at a table, not even in anything to do with Star Wars. They're dicks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if any of
Oh
y'all are
yeah.
listening. I haven't had a good experience with the 501st outside of my one friend who was part of it, and he left for reasons that I'm sure are related to that. But
Yeah.
I mean, when you're doing your own little thing and you literally pull someone who I'm talking to about my art and maybe trying to sell something, and they just grab them going, "Hey, you have a bounty. Come check us out." Literally,
Uh,
like fuck them. So I'm already ready to get into it with a stormtrooper at the next convention when we have conventions again. But yeah, that's a human raised with that. The only other thing I'm trying to consider if I want to go with, because they're not cheap, and I don't know anyone
mhm.
who can actually make one, is I do after, and this is because of Mandalorian, 100%. When we talked about Boba getting down with the gaffy stick,
Right.
well, I didn't want the full staff. I thought a cool idea was having him have just the piece that he was using to wreck the stormtroopers as kind of a club and dual
Right.
wield that and the lightsaber.
Yeah. Or you could like factor it in part of his hilt or something like that
I
as
thought
well.
about that too, and
Yeah.
I mean, it could still possibly be done. As a
Mhm.
matter of fact, the saber I bought for this cosplay, I thought the handle looked a lot thinner and I got it for that reason. It is an off-brand; it's
Mhm.
not official Lucas brand. It's not modeled after
Mhm.
anyone in the Star Wars universe. It is a
Right.
thing because I thought maybe I could insert it into that and have that as part of the handle. But yeah, it's a bit bigger than I thought it was going to be actually. So I'm not so
Mhm.
sure it'll work after all. But regardless, I have the costume damn near done. I got to do some weathering. I want to get a couple little like shin guards or some kind of like plastic bits for armor or something a little scattered on them. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm making a cosplay for the conventions we're not having.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, you can make it for the digital conventions, right?
Well,
Just
I'm
you
absolutely
know,
gonna make. I do want to for my channel for the Bearded Captain Productions channel.
right.
I'm gonna make some cosplay videos and like kind of maybe just some extra content for the channel. If nothing else, maybe get a small photo shoot with some of my friends if they get there. My good buddy, he is Doyle. He is making his own mashup Star Wars cosplay. He typically does Green Arrow.
Oh.
He was one of the Green Arrow cosplayers around West Arkansas.
Yeah.
So he has kind of mashed the CW Arrow look with a Jedi, and he calls it Ollie One Kenobi.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's fucking great.
he's awesome, dude. And him making that kind of pushed me. Like, you know what? Whenever we can get together, I'm finally gonna make my Star Wars cosplay with you.
Hmm.
So, and I'm close to done. Of course, you're never done with cosplay, especially when it's your own
Right.
character. You have nothing to model off of, so you can always improve and tweak and change. And so, yeah.
Yeah, there's always room for upgrades and stuff. I don't necessarily have a. Of course, I said that I love creating characters and
Right.
everything. I don't have like an original Star Wars character
Hmm.
necessarily in mind, but holy shit, I love going on to. I believe it's Saberforge.
Right.
They have a 3D lightsaber builder where you could go in and
Oh.
get from their entire library of parts, and in a 3D builder you piece together your own kind of lightsaber.
Right.
So I'm kind of like at some point wanting to do one of those and have them like construct it for me and send it to me.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'll have to send you the link later, and we can check it out together. Maybe post our screenshots of our created lightsabers in a video or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You can figure something out.
And like it's kind of funny because typically whenever I go with like the blade color, I like to go with something a little more unnatural.
Right.
And it was really cool for Knights of the Old Republic 2 to have so many different options in the game. I really liked using orange or silver in it, but I think the color that I've stuck with the most over the years is probably cyan, like that really kind of like bright blue.
Yeah,
which was always really cool.
Which is pretty cool about the saber I got. It has a ton of colors, from the traditional red, blue, green, but also like the lighter blue, the lighter green, or even bright green, purple, yellow, orange. So like it has pretty cool options in there with the LED, and it was fairly inexpensive compared to the other ones. So and it's technically it's a dueling one, like it can take a hit. I ain't swinging on nobody. Except the 501st Trooper who wants to get mouthy. But you know what, though? You said you didn't really have your own characters, but that's not entirely true, is it, Jerry?
Yeah.
You've played some tabletop Star Wars games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've definitely done stuff with that. And I've created plenty of characters for you guys to interact with and everything. I would love to actually get into another one of those at some point, but as like a player, like it would be really cool if the same company that put the those games out did like actually I bet there is a High Republic or an Old Republic MMO out there. That would be pretty fun to do.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Just
unfortunately, we didn't really. I do feel bad at the time, just whatever life was not working well for me to play that game with you. But I was kind of proud of my Wookiee slicer.
It was really fun. I really enjoyed where we went with it, and you know, just the few sessions that we did have was really fun.
I just want to share real quick, because we are getting about our time here. My proudest moment of that game being that I was a Wookiee hacker for better or worse. As big as he was not a combatant. He just wanted to play his video games and hack systems and take down the government. But you know, you opened us up in a prison. Like, we were all arrested. I got busted for like trying to hack an ATM because I had no monies. You were marching us between cells, and I had to ask that, which descriptor. I need a description of our surroundings. Like, are we on one of those traditional Star Wars walkways with no safety rails whatsoever? And you're like, yes, we are, actually, because it was an Imperial ship, which they love their walkways with no damn handrails. And I feigned an injury.
This is an OSHA hazard.
I feigned that injury, and the guard came close. I just knocked their happy ass over the edge, which led to our great escape. We had a lot of fun. I sadly didn't get to play a lot of games just because life was not letting me for multiple reasons. But it was a good time, and I enjoyed it. I can't remember what I named him. I'm sure it was Bob, but it was pronounced.
Oh man, yeah, I really can't remember. I do remember the name of your fucking ship that you ended up naming.
I believe that was the good old Wookiee Poodoo.
Yes, the Wookiee's Poodoo. I don't. Whatever, I guess.
It is. Man, we were a ragtag band of rapscallions. Trekking away across. Well, you can't say trek with Star Wars. Warring around the cosmos.
Yeah, right.
All right, brother. Well, that is actually our time. So, if we don't have anything else pressing we have to discuss,
I think we're both good.
All right, man. Well, thank y'all once again for listening to me and Jerry talk about all things nerdy and awesome to us. Hopefully, it was also awesome to y'all. And if you like what you heard, let us know by leaving a comment. Tell some of your favorite Star Wars stuff. What'd you think of? Oh, go ahead, Jerry.
And if you have your own Star Wars OC, please let us know. Send us a link. I don't know. Throw us some kind of information. I find that stuff fascinating whenever people create their own characters and backstories and stuff like that. It's
Oh,
really neat.
absolutely. Like, if you have a way to post a picture in the comment section, I'm not sure, but hell, let us know. Send us a link to your DeviantArt. Let's love to check it out. And yeah, let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, share away as always. And yeah, that's gonna do it for now. And we're gonna catch y'all next time.
Peace.